quiet on the set here, people. I'm still going out there and trying to publicize our Florian Xhekaj gets called up to the Canadiens video. It's still checking, so we can't unfortunately publish that as of... Oh, actually, nope. Checks complete. No issues found. Okay, 3:31 p.m. Let's go out there and post our tweet and the video itself. Boom shakalaka, baby. It's all a done deal. But of course, this video, we're not going to specifically talk about Florian Xhekaj and what's going on with him. Instead, I wanted to talk about Montreal goaltending once again, and what Elliotte Friedman had to say earlier yesterday morning on the 32 Thoughts podcast. Because, of course, Friedman, we know him, we love him. He's one of the best insiders at Sportsnet, if not the main guy, and he went out there and gave a little bit of an update, status quo situation as to what's happening with Montreal. He had some comments that I thought were kind of interesting, especially coming from the perspective of a Detroit Red Wings fan like myself. Of course, I cheer for the Habs and the Wings, so anytime we can talk about both of them in a video, it's always a fun time. Let's talk about this tweet posted by NHL Rumor Report. Elliotte Friedman said this regarding the Montreal Canadiens and goaltending rumors. People say Cam Talbot. Do you think the Red Wings are breaking up a very good goalie tandem? To me, the one interesting guy is going to be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in Buffalo. This, of course, was mentioned on 32 Thoughts yesterday, and I wanted to respond and say, wait a minute, what? Friedman, okay. Do you think the Red Wings are going to break up a very good goalie tandem? That's the word that he uses. Very good. It's 2 words. I got 3 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul, must-see TV. But ultimately, this is one of these situations where all the replies are like, okay, in what universe did the Wings have a very good goalie tandem? Is the very good goalie tandem in the room with us? Very good goalie tandem with John Gibson? Yeah, okay, that's kind of... people are harping on Elliotte Friedman for the words that he used to describe Detroit's goaltending situation. I'd say that Cam Talbot and John Gibson on paper should be a lot better than they have been, but let's just go ahead and dive into the numbers right here. John Gibson was supposed to be splitting the load, you can say, with Cam Talbot, but Gibson is at an .870 save percentage this year. That is not good. Meanwhile, Cam Talbot is not going out there and showing too much either. He's at an .897 save percentage. He's better than Gibson. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the numbers all favor Cam Talbot at this point, but .897 goaltending still isn't amazing. I don't think Montreal would be necessarily improving by a whole lot if they were to go out there and get an .897 goaltender. It's just so inconsistent. That's the thing. Like, Gibson and Talbot can provide a lot of value, but as we have seen out of some of the recent games for both of these guys, it's just been kind of panic city for Red Wings goaltenders at the moment. Okay, I say that, but Cam Talbot has gone out there with a .909 and a .947 and a .909 in his previous few games. He's been putting it together a lot lately, but John Gibson, on the other hand, I mean... 808, 815, 882, 789. He had a 971 in there, The Red Wings got shut out, 1-0 loss to, I think it was Akira Schmid in net that night in Vegas. But John Gibson is one of 2 in Detroit that has yet to pull their weight fully. Cam Talbot is starting to come back into his own, but for Friedman to go out there and say, oh yeah, Detroit is a really good goalie tandem, and they're going to break it up, like, okay, they've got maybe one mid goalie at best, and another that's really not great. At least at the moment, right? Like, I've been preaching all this about John Gibson throughout the course of the year, and I've been saying that, yeah, he can be good. He can be better. He was solid last year, just he didn't play too many games because he got hurt. John Gibson has a lot more to show than he has shown off so far. And the question really just lies with you and your patience if you're a Red Wings fan trying to see the best out of this guy. it's going to be a pretty tough road to climb for John Gibson because he is signed on till the end of 26-27. He's got another year after this one. There is going to be time for him to marinate, hopefully. But going back over to the tweet and just diving into what other goaltending options could be there, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is interesting because when you take a look at the Buffalo Sabres, they've got a bunch of guys rotating around in net this year. Alex Lyon was a pretty reliable stopgap, but I don't necessarily think the Sabres would fully see Lyon as that number one guy. Devin Levi is still chilling, and apparently he could be in a position to ask out for a trade. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has an .883 save percentage in the NHL this season in 4 games and a .913 in Rochester. So things are not really looking all too great for him. He's not been given a full-time legitimate role. You also have Colton Ellis, who stepped in and actually started doing pretty well as of late. So who knows if Ellis gets the keys to the car at some point. There is a world, I would say, where Colton Ellis is given a little bit more runway, especially when you look at what he has done recently. I mean, he had a really stellar game against the Edmonton Oilers on Monday. .970 save percentage. He only let in 1 goal. That was a really strong showing out of him before Ellis ended up dropping the ball against Calgary, letting in 6 goals on 35 shots against. So all that to say is that the Buffalo Sabres do have some flexibility in net. They do have a number of guys that they could probably ship out. I'd say Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's job is not secure. I'd say even Devin Levi in the AHL, his job is not secure. I don't know if the Canadiens would be comfortable going with a guy like Levi, but if UPL is indeed available, like Friedman is suggesting he could be, then who knows? Maybe it is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen that can be that guy. Ultimately, though, he has had better days in the past. That .910 save percentage year in 54 games with Buffalo in 23-24 was honestly outstanding. Like, a .910 save percentage in this modern NHL, if we scroll all the way back down in 23-24 to save percentages around the league, I mean, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was right there. He was 20th overall. That's a top 20 goalie in the National Hockey League, a bona fide starter. And unfortunately, he just kind of got that role taken away from him, and he hasn't been able to rebound with his on-ice play and production since. So with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about the Montreal Canadiens goaltending rumors? What are your thoughts on Cam Talbot? Do you think the Red Wings would be interested in breaking up a really good goalie tandem? Or do you think a good goalie tandem in Detroit suggests Sebastian Cosa's presence on the roster instead? We already did the song and dance yesterday, whether or not Montreal or Detroit could be looking towards their AHL options to be NHL guys this soon in their careers. Is it time for a Sebastian Cossa or a Jacob Fowler to be given an NHL spot? Not too sure about that entirely at this point. We'll see, but hey, if there is a calling up, then we'll make a video about it, or at least we'll try to. That's the hope, I guess. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below either way about Cam Talbot, about UPL, or any of these guys' options for the Montreal Canadiens. They're probably a little more reliable at this stage than Dobesh and Montembeault, because I think both those guys have just really been down in the dumps and Canadiens fans are losing confidence. But hey, if it is one of these two, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Which one would you prefer? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.